Hi, hello, how's it going? And yes, I've just woken up the cat. Go goes back. Hello. Anyway, oh, don't mind me. I'm sat in front of the telly trying to work out a second edition of my very first poetry collection. I highly doubt that's going to be published anytime soon, but I'm working on it. Um, I'm rewatching. I'm actually rewatching a children's show, but there we go. Welcome to my life. This is an intro for my thoughts of the book or something like that. It's a playlist that I've got on YouTube. Link down below of other episodes that I've done. This is where I normally take one book. It is normally one single book, read through and share my thoughts, sometimes as I read along and sometimes when I finished it. I think if I remember correctly, the very first book in this series is Graham Norton's, I want to say Home Away from Home. It's something like that. Anyway, I haven't done one of these for a while, and I just happened to be in the library, and my library has got a vast collection of manga and graphic novels now, which I'm so happy about. And I just happened to pick up volume 1 of The Witch's Marriage, and I can't for the life of me remember who's it by. If I can remember, I'll stick it on the screen. But this is something that just caught my eye. All it be from the cover, from just the fact it was about witches, and I don't know why. I seem to kind of like be drawn to the magic elements with fairies and mystical creatures, the cozy vibes of that kind of fantasy area. I've kind of always been into that. Even from the age of 9, 10, I was reading so many books about fairies and magic. And then as I got older, it got more into the witchy side with the worst witch books. So that's just stuck. So that's the intro. Let me know on your thoughts if you've read this manga series. I certainly want to read the next volume in the series. Whether or not I read the whole series, I don't know. In fact, have I ever read a full manga series? I have my doubts. Anyway, this is on the first volume of The Witches and Marriage. Wait, first volume entitled The Witches of Marriage. That didn't make a single ounce of sense, Millie. Surprise, surprise, I'm back on the sofa, but it's a different day. Different time of day, actually. It's just gone lunchtime. Anyway, that's beside the point. I'm here to talk about The Witch's Marriage. Now, interestingly, it doesn't give a specific author. It just literally said it's a manga produced by like a company called Headline Studios. And that's interesting, but fine. We'll go with it. We are following Melissa, and I want to say her name's Nadia. I could have that completely wrong, but I'll stick her name up on there. Anyway, they're two trainee witches. Melissa's higher up on the scale as the other girl, and Melissa is looking to increase her power in order to basically, in a sense, be good enough to marry her mistress. I know. If you think it's weird already, you're on the same wavelength as me. Anyway, so meantime, in order to increase her power, she gets to know this other, I'm going to say girl, because her character, the way the artist has actually drawn this character, it looks incredibly childlike. Now, it's clear that she's naive. Just saying, she's very naive going into some of the situations that she's put in. But yeah, sorry, I'm holding the camera with my hand and it's getting achy. So where was I? So basically, this character is naive. She wants to become a witch. She is infatuated with Melissa. So I get the impression that she is just convinced that this is true love. She is going with it. She thinks the world of Melissa. And she also wants to increase her power to basically not only just marry, yes, marry Melissa, but she also wants to help Melissa in whatever her goal is, basically. And whether or not Melissa has actually told her what the hell's going on, I doubt it. Like I said, this other character is incredibly naive, so she probably will get quite confused if Melissa had told her all the details anyway. I don't think she has. I didn't get that impression reading it. And as we read this, it's basically what other witches will do to increase their power and become the most powerful witch in all the land, all the world, etc. I personally found there are a lot of parallels to evolving technology. And so there's this one witch that Melissa either grew up with, went to school with, etc. And she says, "Oh, I'm the most powerful witch. I have the most devoted partner." To the point where they actually snog in front of Melissa and Melissa's partner as well, which I found it incredibly strange. So did the two characters, by the way. And Melissa immediately says, "Hang on a minute. That partner isn't real. You used magic to create a partner who is, of course, going to be devoted to you no matter what, but you use magic to basically form her." And that made me think about robots and how the technology is developed so much that experts are now saying that people who suffer from loneliness should have a robot dog to I know this sounds weird me saying it as well, but it's true. It's true. I don't know whether it's been in the news recently, but there was something a few years ago of people creating robot dogs and giving them to lonely people and vulnerable people to help them deal with loneliness. It was bizarre, but there we go. That's basically kind of what it reminded me of. And this first volume actually, I think, ends with her kind of doing that, which again, it seems to jump within different timelines as well, which got me very confused. So it's Melissa's acquaintance. I don't think she's a friend. And I'm not also sure that she is a former lover. There are some Melissa's former lovers in this, which gets a little bit weird. Weird and confusing. Those are the two words to sum up this manga volume. I loved the powers that Melissa actually has. So there's one point where she transforms into a cat. And I just love that. I love the way the artist actually drew the cats. There's a picture where Melissa as the cat basically rubs. You know how cats, if you own a cat, by the way, let's see if we can get her in the background. Can we get her in the background? Oh, she's too far away. Anyway, if you own a cat, you know how they use their heads to rub against something wherever they're relaxed or happy. The artist basically captures that in Melissa's transformation as a moggy very, very well, and I found that super cute. So there are interesting segments of Melissa's power to the point where she actually somehow casts a spell, I'm assuming by accident, and then she kind of gets younger. So she basically, when you're a child and you're learning like your life skills, people learn them at different ways. You learn to walk, you learn to talk, you learn to crawl, you learn to all that kind of thing. So as she basically decreases in age, she becomes a child again, and she can't talk. She can only cry, and she can. I think her mind is still mature, but because she's now a child, she can't communicate those. And I don't think this lasts. I think they figure out a way to kind of like reverse the spell. Just I could be wrong. I would need to read the second volume to confirm that or not. I don't know. Bit odd, but there we go. It's yeah. I love the fact there's a dragon involved. There's a certain trial where they have to both confess an absolute truth in front of the dragon, and they will know it's an absolute truth when like a flame torch ignites larger or smaller depending on whether they're telling the truth or lying in front of the dragon's face or not. So I love that. So there are parts of this that I loved, and the other parts that just confused me greatly and are just plain weird. So, mixture of thoughts on volume 1 of Witch's Marriage. Yeah, I haven't done one of these videos for a while. It's a bit of a confused mess, if I'm honest, because one, I don't actually have the copy with me. I just sat in the library yesterday and read it. I didn't actually take the book out because they've already got a book out already that I'm reading from the library. So, bit of a messy bookish thoughts with this one, but if you'd like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel to see more of this kind of content. Like I say, I'll put the link below to the actual playlist of where I've done this for other books before, and suggest other books that you want me to read and continue with making these weird books. I have no idea what Coco's doing. I think she's decided to oh, she's hugging the cushion. Am I a witch for my own cat? I'll let you decide.